Stop focusing on like, how can I make a business out of this? And instead be like, how can this get more attention to my business? And the
Yeah.
rest will follow.
Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Hello, everybody. Today I have Sarah Griffith on here. She's from Scaped Outdoors, and she had sent me an email, and she was talking about something that she was doing in the business here in Western Pennsylvania, and I was like, we have to talk about this in the podcast. So, Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to share this with all of you. And the goal isn't necessarily that you run with the exact idea that I'm going to share that we did, but maybe instead that it allows you to take some time today to reflect and think, how could I be creative with my business from this marketing angle? So what I will say is that my husband and I, we have been running this hardscape and excavation company since 2021. And when I say that we've been running it, what I mean is that I've been doing more of the behind the scenes. I would do the accounting, I would do the social media, the very typical when your husband and wife work together. My husband was the one, he was out doing the selling and he was out building the projects. And that was fine. And that's how we ran the business for the first couple years. But we have 3 children, but at the time our children were really small. And so, barely 2 and 4 and 9. And you know that that's a season of life where time is really precious. And one of our biggest pain points was the selling process of, okay, he was working all day, but then he was doing quotes at night. And it was the same story that, is in your book that everybody talks about. It's a tough season. And we were kind of given a silver platter opportunity, and we were able to partner with a company in our area that did hardscape that was bigger than us. And so it was a platter of, hey, the work's already sold. We want you to sub it. And for us, it was great because it allowed us to just not have our evenings. We didn't have to spend doing quotes anymore. We were being fed work, and that worked really well. And we did that for like 2 years, but it caused us to kind of stop having to sell, if that makes sense. We stopped doing lead gen. We stopped doing a lot of things because we were being fed. And we've been wanting to get back more towards not being fed and being the ones who bring the work in ourselves and doing what, we had fun doing together in the beginning. And so just this fall, I've been working more in the business from a sales role versus just behind the scenes. I'm sort of stepping into being the one who's selling, being the one who's doing the marketing, and having Kevin just focus on, doing the installs. And so I said to Kevin, I was like, we need to work on being more, I call it 5 mouths famous. There's a book that I would encourage all of you to read in this industry. It's called How to Become a Hometown Hero. This is a book that I read this summer and I loved it. Like I'm telling you, one of my best books of last year, How to Become a Hometown Hero. And in the book, it talks all about becoming 5 mouths famous. And the truth is we weren't 5 mouths famous. Like that's the reality. Because when we were working for this other company, we were taking jobs that were an hour away. And so, yes, we were in great neighborhoods serving high profile clientele, but we weren't serving our community like we were when we got started. And so it was almost like we took a couple years of like not being 5 mouths famous. And I don't really think that as many people knew about us and what we were doing as we needed to. So I said to Kevin, I said, we need to become 5 mouths famous. We need to do something that creates a stir about Scaped Outdoors in our community. And I also really wanted to do something that, aligned with the business. It wasn't just like a random pie in the sky. But I told him, I said, what if we started setting up igloos in people's backyards and we brought it and we let them run it for 24 hours and it gave them a chance to connect with their loved ones and create basically like a dinner party environment. What if we did this? And he was, of course, like, the hell do I want to set up igloos for? Like, I don't think that's feasible. Like, how would we do it? Like, there was so much, not pushback from Kevin, but like in the beginning, he's like, I don't know that I want to set up igloos. How would it work? Because really, these igloos, like you've all seen them at the winery, They're those little domes. They're not meant to be set up and then taken down the next day. They're a pain to set up. Like, that's the
Yeah.
truth. And so I had to convince him that this was a good idea, that this could be profitable, and that this was worth his time. And so I went with the idea. I was like, let me market it. Let me do all of it. I just need you to agree to be on my team to come and set these up. That's all I
Yeah.
asked of him. I was like, I don't need you to do anything other than just be my wingman. And he's like, all right. Because, couples in business together, you always agree. Like, you just do it.
Of
Like, okay,
course.
whatever you say, like, whatever, I'm
Whatever you want,
in.
honey. No problem.
Yeah, whatever. So he said whatever to this. And so I started marketing it. I started to like drip details about it in October. And then I started to put out, content on social media. And then all of a sudden it was like one person signed up, then 4, then 6. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we have an igloo business going here. Like, this is crazy. Like, now we have to deliver on this. And so what happened is over the course of the last 4 months, we have booked the igloo out a lot. In December, it was almost every single day.
Hmm.
We have absolutely been profitable because that was, of course, my little voice inside my head was like, oh my gosh, I have to make this work because I don't want Kevin to be like, I told you so. This, you didn't sell, like, this didn't work. It worked, and it worked in like the most incredible way. We can talk more about it, but I'll share like the way we were able to make an impact, what it's done from
Yeah.
like a sales perspective. But I just wanted to kind of give you like a high level. That's what we're talking about today is these
I love
igloos
it.
and how they brought attention to Scaped Outdoors.
Yeah, I love how you're so out of the box thinking is really, first, before I get even into that, tell
Yeah.
us a little bit more about what Five Mouths Famous is. Like, what is it? How do we
Mhm.
know if we're there? And how did you see it integrating into your business?
Yeah. So you think about like 5 miles famous means that if you were to go within 5 mile radius of your home, everybody around you would know that you're the person to go to for your business. So
Okay.
for Hardscape, people would say, oh yeah, Scaped Outdoors. I think of like, there's a roofing company in our town and it's called like it's like Gherkin Roofing, and their logo is all about the pickle and everything
Mm.
says like, call the pickle, call the pickle. I am telling you, like everyone in our town, they may not know if he's good, but everyone in the town has brand recognition about the pickle roofing company. And so
Mm.
we needed to get more like that because while we were still getting leads from our supplier in town, which is awesome, I don't think that people were necessarily like, oh, we need to call Scaped Outdoors for our outdoor living spaces. So I needed to create that type of brand recognition.
Got it. And so why igloos? I mean, there's probably a lot of different ways you can get Five Mouths Famous in your town. Whatever directed you toward, and tell us a
Totally.
little bit about what these things even look like. Cause I know you're
Yeah,
not out there cutting snow and building like actual
yeah,
Inuit
totally.
igloos. So
So because it was fall, we were coming into what is typically a season where Kevin doesn't work. So what we do is we sell enough work throughout the throughout the spring and summer and fall that Kevin does tend to get to enjoy December and January as downtime. He gets to
Mm.
just relax and be inside and not be cold. There has been seasons where he's chosen to work, but he doesn't have to work. And so he wasn't out looking for, oh, I have to go land a big
Mm.
hardscape project. And so I said to him, I said, let's use this time to do marketing. And I'm going to ask you to work 2 hours a day when we go do these igloos, and that's going to just be your role. So anyways, I looked at this as a way to use the winter months where he's not super busy to get attention on our business. Could I have chosen snow removal? Sure. Could I have chosen any other thing that maybe would be more related to this? But at our core, I want to be known as a company who creates spaces for families to connect and have
Mm.
meaningful relationships. And
Mhm.
our igloos are doing just that because what's happening is, it's girls' nights out where 8 women in the community are getting together and having wine and hanging out in the igloo. It's parents in affluent neighborhoods who are booking it for their kids' birthday parties. And then everyone on the street's like, oh my gosh, that igloo is so cool. So what's happening is our business is becoming a vehicle for connection for families in our community, and they're talking about it. The Facebook groups in our town, they're talking about Scaped Outdoors and those igloos. People are like, how do I get that igloo at my house? So it's creating a lot of attention. And that's really what being 5 miles famous is also about. It's creating attention.
Yeah.
And so I just needed to work hard. And that's my focus right now for 2026 is creating attention. I
Yeah.
ask Kevin, I say to him, like when we make a decision, I say, is this helping with 5 miles famous? And if it's not, I'm not interested. I'm not sponsoring a
Mm.
golf outing an hour away right now. I'll sponsor one that's within 5 miles. Or, I made us do the light up night parade for like the holidays because I was like, that igloo is going in the light up night parade. And he's like, oh, do we have to do the light up night parade? Like, we've pulled the girls like for cheer. Like, we've done the light up night parade, but not like scaped outdoors doing it. And I was like, 5 miles famous, baby. You're in the parade, whether
Wow.
you like it or not. So I dressed up as a giant Christmas tree and we put the igloo on the trailer. And he just like looks at me the whole time like, we're insane. But like, you just kind of have to be insane and it works.
I love it. I love it. So how big are these igloos? What are they made of? And
Yeah,
do
they're
you heat
just, you
them?
can
Like, how does this work?
yeah, it was a lot of learning, right? So
Mm.
I never had one. I always wanted one. I was like, oh, we should get an igloo for the backyard for the kids. So if this doesn't work out, at least I'll get a cool igloo for the kids. That was my thought process.
Yeah.
But they're 12 feet tall and about 12 feet wide. So
Okay.
they're like 12 by 12 space. What we had to learn was great question. How do you heat it? We had to figure out how to keep them warm enough. We
Mm.
also had to keep it so that people weren't sitting on the floors in Pennsylvania. So we had to figure out a flooring situation
Mm.
and how to make it all work from a setup standpoint. And then, of course, this is the part where it gets tricky. I did all the decorating and I did all the planning and making it they look beautiful inside. We had
Mm.
different themes that people could select. So that's where this was definitely a husband wife combo. If you don't have somebody who's out there designing like a really beautiful igloo inside, you might want to hire someone. Like, you don't necessarily have to have a wife, hire someone in your town who's great at event planning to do it for you. But a lot of effort went into that part. And that part's what made it do so well on social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah, I saw the pictures after you sent the idea over, and I was like,
Yeah.
I got to look at this. I have no idea what she's up to. And I looked, I'm like, this is amazing. Because you think about it, most of us are looking out of our windows, especially in Pennsylvania here, and we're like, it's gray, it's
Mhm.
snowy, it's boring. I don't know the next time we're going to see the backyard, actually see grass. So the idea of
Yes.
engaging that space in the middle of winter and managing the
Mhm.
temperature and all of that is just, I can imagine that was a big shift in people's minds. Like, wait, I could actually have a birthday party outside. I could have a girls' night having
Yes,
some wine.
absolutely.
That'd be really fun. So what are some of the not pitfalls, but some of the struggles you ran into when it came to talking to people about this? Because it's new, it's different, right? Early adopters will pick
Yes.
it up, but others are going to be like, "What's going on?" So how did you present this to people, and how did you get them to say yes?
Yes. Okay. So definitely use social media, made reels, made content. It's one thing for me to talk about it, but whenever people saw it, it sold itself.
Hmm.
There was, I can't even think of, I don't think that anyone who reached out and asked about it said no. Once they asked, it was just like, how do I buy it? I think that we could have charged more. We still definitely were profitable, but I only charged $350 to $400, depending if they added the fire feature. So
Okay.
let's go back. I do want to say this about the challenges of like just figuring it out. Like the first couple times, I was like, it's too cold in here. We need 2 space heaters, not 1. When it was the first time that we set it up from a flooring standpoint, we figured out like we needed more. We needed to have a better flooring system. When it was really windy one day, I was like in it setting it up. I'm like, Kevin, it's gonna blow away. I was like, this is like, it's like we had like 45-mile-an-hour winds. I'm like, it's not gonna make it, and this whole business is gonna flop. Like all of the stuff's gonna get ruined. Like I was like very like dramatic, and he showed up
Yeah.
with like more things to put it down. But like even the extreme cold. So these igloo, the covers on them they're just like a vinyl cover.
Hmm.
And okay, so I will say this too, brand wise, Vevor, I think it's Vevor or Vevor, Vevor is the brand that we have. These igloos cost like $500. They're not a lot of money. Total investment, I'd say I probably had between $2,000 and $3,000 in it with all the
Okay.
decor for all the themes, the flooring. But that brand held up well. But when it's really cold, because we were having people book it, this winter's been cold. It's been in the negatives. When it's really cold, the igloo will break. Like
Mm.
the cover will snap and you'll get holes in it. So then there was like the couple times where I'm like, oh no, there's a hole in the igloo. And we're like trying to tape it. We have
Mm.
bought a couple igloos. So if you
Okay.
do this, I would tell you do not just have one
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
all the
That's great.
materials. Yeah.
So what do you do when they're calling for snow and you've got a booking? We've had a lot of snow
Mhm.
this year. So
Yeah.
how do you said wind? I totally get that's sometimes unknown, but
Yeah.
what about snow?
Just praying, honestly. I've been
Yeah.
just because here's the thing, when they're booking this, they're booking it for an event. So they're not typically just having it to have it. They're having it
Yeah.
and they have 8 friends coming over, or it's their kid's birthday, and we need to show up and make it happen. So we've built it in a lot of snow. There was the crazy snowstorm that we had about a month ago, and that we had a booking scheduled for that day and the day before. And so we worked with the clients. She moved the birthday party to Friday, and the other client asked us to pick it up that night. Usually they get it for 24 hours. I
Mhm.
gave her the option. I said, you can have the igloo until the snowstorm's over and it's your responsibility, or we'll come whatever time tonight. So we took it down at like 10 o'clock at night that night. People have been so excited about it and just so
That's so cool.
positive.
When I
Yeah.
think about it from like a business standpoint, I say that's insane, the amount of time and the decoration and all that stuff. But when I
Yeah.
shift it into the bucket of marketing, it's
Hmm.
brilliant. That's why
Yeah.
I want to get you on here. I think it's absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant to be thinking that, because right now, think about all the street cred you're picking up, right? Putting these
Yeah.
things, they might be $400 or $500 for a day, but they
Hmm.
remember you. They remember an igloo, which is the first and probably only time in their life will ever have that thought. And they're
Yes.
all connecting it to you. You're getting a chance to build rapport. You're getting a chance to be in the communities. You're getting a chance to affect communities in the sense they invite a bunch of friends over. And man, isn't marketing all about exposure?
It
And I'm like,
totally.
that's the brilliant part about this. I love it. It's so
Yeah.
different.
And we didn't, we would make a reel every time we'd set one up. And Kevin would say to me, Sarah, why are you filming me building the floor again? You
Yeah.
just filmed me yesterday building the floor. I said, Kevin, it was for yesterday's reel. And that was for that
Yeah.
client to share it. But this is for today's client to share it. So be quiet and let me film you building. Like we just you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean that way, but like we were just, he just
Yeah.
knows, like it's a market. It's all for marketing. And then too, like after this was over, they would be sharing content on social media. They'd be tagging us. Their friends are
Mhm.
tagging us. And then I would handwrite every single one of them a thank you note with our Scaped Outdoors card, letting them know if you
Yeah.
need any landscaping or hardscape this year, we're here for it. In the beginning, Kevin, it was really fun because I would tell him, I'm like, these are gonna land us in the best backyards. And he's like,
Mhm.
okay. And what was happening is every single client that was booking was in our like ideal client profile, and they were in
Mm.
the neighborhoods that we wanted to be in. I was like, this is easy. And then what would happen too is like we'd get out and we'd start unloading, and they're like, hey, do you do landscaping too? And I was like, this is the best, because it was like I was like, yes, like I loved when that happened. We had a really beautiful new construction that we went to, and I was so bummed when I went to the backyard because I saw like the stunning outdoor
Mm.
kitchen, fire pit. I was like,
Mm.
we missed it. And the husband came out and he shook Kevin's hand and he's like, hey, my wife said you do hardscape. He's like, I don't like this backyard. He's like, I would love to redo it. They just moved in. He's like, I'd love to talk to you more. So
Mm.
it is creating really beautiful conversations. We've done a ton of networking. I said, we made a lot of friends this winter,
Yeah.
for sure. So I'm excited to see what happens from here, like for
Yeah.
the spring from a sales standpoint.
I would be excited to have you back on in 6 months to a year to see how this stuck for you when it comes to
Yep.
new leads and all. Because think about it. Most of us are spending tons of money in marketing trying to be found. You're getting paid to market. You just got to add extra value to people's lives, right? And you're getting the opportunity to do the best kind of marketing, which is face to face. You're actually
Yes.
building a relationship and building a connection and doing something for a family that they're never going to forget. Their little girl's never going to forget her little birthday party out there with all the pink
Yes.
napkins and all this stuff. And she's
Yes.
always going to remember that as something so unique. And then her friends are going to want the same thing. And again, birds of a feather, right? So
Mhm.
that's why I love this. I figure
We didn't spend a
we have
dime
to talk about
either on
it. Yeah,
like,
that's the crazy part.
I could have marketed it from I didn't spend $1 on Google Ads. I didn't. Our
Yeah.
community sold this for me.
Yeah. So where were you advertising this or promoting this in the community to get that kind of traction? Was it just on
Mhm.
your
Our
business
community
page, or was it local pages?
Yeah, our Facebook page for Scaped Outdoors, and then my own Facebook following and social media following. I have a small, like a micro influencer following on Instagram, so I think
Yeah.
that also helps.
Yeah.
Because what I would do is I would on purpose make the content on my it's just Sarah Elizabeth 27. It's like an Instagram that I've had forever, but I would
Mm.
make it on there because I have a larger following on there, and I would invite Scaped to be a collaborator, because you can
Yeah.
invite to be a collaborator. So then that would put
Yeah.
it in Kevin's feed, without him having to do, well, it's really me, but without him having to do any work. So that was helpful. But then just the neighborhood groups, the Facebook neighborhood groups that exist in your community, I would just share it in there. And that's really what did it, to be honest.
That's amazing. I love it. I love when people think out of the box. They solve multiple problems with one thing, and they have fun doing it, right? I mean, I can
Yes.
tell that you're, creative that way. I've seen some of the pictures on Instagram, and I'm like, holy moly! Like it really is about the decor. Because if you just put up this, this vinyl dome, the PVC pipes and all that stuff, and you put it
Yeah.
on snow, and like, who's going to go out in it? But having a nice floor, I think you guys actually put in like a
Yeah.
wooden floor, and
Yeah.
then to go in there and
Yes.
put some
Chandelier.
seating in there, and then to deck it out with decorations and having a good eye for that. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, because this is what I had said to Kevin in the beginning, and this is true. Our ideal client who has the money to invest in an outdoor backyard, the Mrs. Jones, if she's having a birthday party for her daughter, she doesn't care if the cake costs $400. So if she doesn't
Mm,
care if the birthday cake costs $400, she definitely doesn't care if the igloo costs $400. And that was the
mm,
truth. Every person
yeah,
who rented this, nobody was like, "Oh, it's too expensive." And if it was too expensive, they weren't our ideal client anyways for what we're really trying to do. So this was,
yeah,
again, it's not about being an igloo business. It's just about
yeah.
doing really unique marketing and having fun.
I love it. I love it. And on top of that, you're exactly right. You're pre-qualifying right then and there. You set a
Mhm.
price. If they don't see the value, probably not going to buy hardscapes either. And that's the
No.
target, right? We're helping people. Love it.
Yes,
You're giving them experiences. But at the end of the day, we're not just doing it for that. So I love
absolutely.
how you've gone through and made that possible. Do you have any other ideas in the back of that mind of yours for future igloo-like things?
Yeah, I'll share that. And then to remind me that I want to share with you guys about like the collabs and the giveaways and why that could potentially be helpful for the listeners.
Sure.
So this worked. It worked in a big way. And it worked in a way that I don't have to convince Kevin anymore that this was a good choice. So next year we'll do it again. If we're smart, we will have a team to help us because
Mm,
this was a lot of time for
yeah.
setups on
Yeah.
weekends and whatnot. So big scale, we'll have a team who helps do it. But what I have figured out is that I'm going to go with this and we're going to do picnics. I haven't really announced it yet, but what's going to happen is in the spring, I'll do something very similar. You'll see the flooring, you'll see incredible like pallet style picnics. This will be something that we not only sell, but it will be we like to give our clients a gift at the end of their project. And so
Mm,
what's going to happen is we will hire a chef to come and prepare a meal for the clients when the Hardscape project's over. They will also have this picnic set up. So we'll come and set up the beautiful picnic. They'll get time outside in their new outdoor living space. And we will be known then as the company that gifts these picnics for our clients. So I
love it.
think it will be good for that. But the only thing is that I have to figure out how to do this without Kevin. Because if you watch, I need him. I need him to carry the giant boards. I need our trailer, which is our hardscape trailer. That's why we have to be done with igloos soon because
Mm,
there's no room for like Kevin's going to have it on the job site in the next couple weeks. So igloo season has to end. But I need to be able to do this with my own vehicle and just Sarah setting it up versus a team or,
yeah.
having hired help. So I'll figure it out. Just like I figured this out. So that's to come.
That's great. I love how you're expanding upon that. Like, a good visionary always sees what's here and sees what's coming, right? And says, how can I take what we've done and how can I make it better? Because as soon as this podcast goes live, I know there's going to be a handful of people that are going to go out and start doing this, which is good. But
Yeah.
that's Sarah last week. Sarah future, nobody knows what's coming with her, right? So you're never in
Exactly.
competition with anybody else is really my bigger point. You're only
Yeah.
ever in competition with yourself yesterday. Right. So if you
Absolutely.
focus on that, then everything else becomes simpler. So,
Hmm.
so tell us some more about the collaborations and the
Yes.
giveaways and how all that
Absolutely.
worked.
Yeah. So again, if you look at this as a way to do marketing, then you look at collaborations and you look at giveaways from a different light. Again, I needed to have this thing pay for itself. That was obviously the first goal. And then as soon as that happened, then I didn't really care about the revenue. I mean, I did care about the revenue, but I wasn't chasing the revenue. I still made the revenue, and that worked for itself. But I was chasing the opportunity to be seen. So our church is a very large church in the area. We're very active. I'm on the pastoral council, and our family is very present at the church. They were doing tip boards to do fundraising, so they reached out when they saw we had the idea of the igloos, and we gave away the igloo as a tip board for our church to fundraise.
Hmm.
we also, our daughters go to a private Catholic school. And so they did a charity auction in the fall. We donated because last year the head of the landscaping committee at our school, but I found that last year a lot of our projects were coming from school,
Mm,
like the girls' school. And so I was like, yep, you may have the igloo. Happy to let you auction that off and you can have all of the profits from it. So we let them auction it off. I'm trying to think, there is a nonprofit in our town that is called Costumes for Courage, and they give costumes to children who have pediatric cancer. And
okay.
so they were looking for a way to fundraise. I said, you got it. So I let them auction off our igloo for a fundraiser for them. And then I also did 2 giveaways, and this is important. I would encourage you, take notes here. So what I did is I wanted to do a giveaway for 2 different things. I did one at Christmas, and I let people come to our home in our backyard for 1-hour slots. And this was for people who are having a hard season. I wanted to give back in that way, and I wanted our kids to see what it looked like for mom and dad to do good in the community. So what
Mhm.
happened was I made a Google form. I said to fill this out, write down the reason why you feel like you want the igloo experience. And it was heart-wrenching. Like the sadness and heaviness that people in our community were feeling, it was just hard to read. And I think I had almost 100 people apply for that, which was great. But here's the ticket, right? Like, you can do good, but you have to also do good for your business. So the rule was, to be entered, you had to either follow us on Facebook or Instagram. They had to check the box where they were following. So if you're going to do a giveaway like this, make it worth your time. Do good, but make it worth your time. So that helped me in 2 ways. It got me new followers who were definitely paying attention, but it also helped me to build my email list for the future. So now, just from those Christmas giveaways, there's 100 new people on my list who may not want hardscape. Maybe they want a picnic, but regardless, I have their contact now. And so that was really smart. So we did that on Christmas. It was right before Christmas we did it. And it was just really beautiful for our kids to see and to just
Mm.
be a part of. We brought, I think it was 8 families in. So we had 8 hours of rentals. Again, things that my husband's like, what are we doing? This is crazy that you want to bring all these strangers to our house. And I'm like, people won't forget how you treated them and how you
Yeah.
cared about them. And so that matters. And then for Valentine's Day, we did the same kind of thing, except this time you didn't have to have a sad story. You just had to have a love story. And I think we had about 75 people apply for that.
Really?
Yeah. So again, really,
Incredible.
just really cool.
I love
That's
it.
all I
I
can
love
say.
it.
Really
And you
cool.
get a chance to meet people and see where they're at and to
Mhm.
build a relationship with them. And then when they need hardscaping, guess who they're coming to?
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. I love it.
Oh, this is the last thing too about the collabs. There's a boutique in our town that is very well shopped at by women who are the Mrs. Joneses of our town. And she found it on social media when I shared in the Facebook groups. And she's like, I want you to bring it to the store. And I want to rent the igloo, but use it for a shopping experience. And so
Mm.
she didn't want any of my stuff in it. She just wanted the igloo and the floor and the chandelier. And she filled it with her product, but she shared it on Facebook. She has 15,000 local followers. And then she brought us back for Valentine's Day too. And again, I got to make that connection with her. She's a
Yeah.
beautiful entrepreneur, so kind, loving, powerful woman in our
Mhm.
community. And one of the women who worked in there, I didn't even realize it. My husband he did her pool, one of our first years. And she came, I didn't know she worked there. And she came out when I was taking it down. And she's like, Kevin is so wonderful. My dad was with me. Kevin was
Mm.
out of town. So my dad was helping me. But she was like, I just told everybody about how great Kevin is with his projects. And I was like, oh, I didn't know the lady worked here. This is amazing. So life just has a funny way of putting all the right people on your path.
My goodness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Really
God
cool.
is good. It's amazing how well that works. Oh my goodness. So is there anything else you would want to share with someone who's listening to this right now thinking, all right, Sarah, seems like
Yeah.
it worked for you, but
Yep.
we just do the old fashioned marketing and I don't really know if I'm really open to being this creative or putting this kind of energy out there, but I really want to get more leads and all this kind of stuff. What are some things you could tell that person that would help them over that threshold into becoming more creative?
Mhm. Sometimes I think just being alone with your own thoughts and taking like I do a daily walk every day. So like spending time with yourself where you're
Mm,
just looking and reflecting, I think that builds your creativity. So first thing I would say is just like are you spending enough time alone in your head
mm,
getting new ideas because if you're always distracted by a podcast or a meeting
right.
or a phone call or whatever, you're not having time to let that creativity come out. It's in there for you. It
Yeah.
really is. And you're going to blow your mind whenever you give yourself space to just be and think about your business, and also like have conversations with the people who you care about. Let
Mm,
them in. Say, hey, I'm looking for new creative ideas. What are your ideas? They may tell you stuff, and you're like, no, that's not it. I mean, ChatGPT is great, but like sometimes your own creative ideas are way better. So
yeah.
just doing that is really important. Just making space for that as entrepreneurs in your calendar to just simply be creative. I think that in our industry, there's a huge opportunity for seasonal, like holiday stuff. So I told you we did igloos. We didn't even touch on it, but I did wreath decorating workshops in people's homes too. So I was in I had over 100 women in like 2 weeks where I went to the homes. We decorated wreaths together. They brought their friends. I made new friends. It was networking. It
Wow.
wasn't about wreaths. So you have to really stop and say, like, stop focusing on, like, how can I make a business out of this? And instead be like, how can this get more attention to my
Mm,
business? And the
yeah.
rest will follow. If you do good work, once they notice that you build igloos and they scroll down and see, like, oh, you really installed a beautiful outdoor living space, then they're going to call you and they're going to like you too because you did
Mm.
something fun with them and the connection was there.
I love it. Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
This is exactly what our industry needs is a new fresh set of eyes on networking and how to connect and not just think I need to put more money in Facebook ads or Google ads or, your website's very important. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it's about, getting people to know, like, and trust you, right?
Mhm.
That's the cornerstone of any kind of sales conversation. So you're doing that by decorating wreaths and putting up igloos and making a difference in your community. So I'm
Mhm.
just so excited that you reached out to me for this. And I'm glad we could finally share it and
Yeah.
that you're willing to share because you could keep this all to yourself. You could keep this all to yourself so nobody else would find out about it. What drives you to want to share this?
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. I mean, here's the deal. You could watch my reel. Kevin sometimes would say, like, "Are you sure you want to show every step that we do in building this? Like, you're telling other people exactly how to do it." Go ahead, do it. You're never
Yeah.
gonna be like us, right? Like, we have something really special, we're really unique. We're what makes Scaped Outdoors what it is, and if people wanna build an igloo, go ahead. There's lots of room for other people to sell the same thing,
Yeah.
and that goes with your projects too. Like, you gotta focus on what makes you good and what makes you unique and why people love working with you, and don't be afraid. Like, there's room for more than one person to win in this industry, and so
Love
if
that.
you figured out how to win, tell other people how.
Yeah.
Bring them along, like, be a light to somebody else in the industry.
I love your heart for that. That is so good. So many want to keep everything so closed off. If somebody else finds out how I'm doing this or how I have this efficiency or why we can do it this fast, they're gonna, take it from me. And I'm like, when we learn something, I believe
Yeah.
that when we're gifted this ability to learn something or God pours something into us, it is our responsibility to share it with as many as we possibly can because in the
Mhm.
sharing is where it becomes even bigger. And it so
Yes,
far goes beyond what our little minds can comprehend. So I love
absolutely.
that your heart is that way and that you're willing to come on here and share all the details of this. I mean, I learned so much during this podcast. I love it. It's great. And I really hope the listeners out there are open to this kind of different kind of marketing. We're in 2026 now and the world is not the same it was in 2020, 2021 when you didn't have to sell anything. You just took orders. That was it. Everybody just wanted backyards. They wanted them now and they would wait and they would pay whatever it costs. We are
Mhm,
not there now. By the
mhm.
end of the next 12 months, 30% of the businesses listening to this podcast may be out of business. That's what I've been told. That's what I see
Mhm.
because consumer confidence is lower, interest rates are higher, cost of doing business is higher. And if you're trying to sell like you were back in the 1990s or 2000s, like those times are over. And
Yes.
if you don't continue to learn how to do things like these amazing marketing opportunities by setting up igloos or whatever comes to your mind, you're going to be the guy in the back. You can't
Yeah.
always outsource that to some marketing agency. So I love that you've broken that open and,
Mhm.
it's a matter of just taking time and spending it with yourself to just see
Yeah.
what's in there. How many
Yes.
ideas? Like, cause you can go run. I like to run. So when I go running, if I put AirPods in and listen to a song or a podcast or a sermon or whatever it might be,
Mhm.
that's good, but by the end, my mind is still stuck on something else. When I run without any of that, the ideas that flow through me, I'm like,
Crazy.
wow, it's wild. I'm like spending
Yes.
time in the silence is really where all this happens. And for some,
Yeah.
that's a scary place. But I challenge you, listeners, to do it, to
Mhm.
try it. Work out next time without your AirPods. Go for a run. Go for a walk. Do something where your mind is open and free. You'd
Mm.
be amazed what comes out of it.
Yes. And I'll say this too. Everyone's longing right now for connection.
Yeah,
And I think that a lot of you are in positions where you can solve that problem. Stop selling the type of pavers that you're going to put in or the wall and instead
yeah,
sell the problem. And the problem is loneliness and disconnection. And you all are creating spaces where that can change. And so stop
yeah.
selling on the product and sell on what this is going to fix.
I love it. You are so spot on. Oh, I'm so excited we had this conversation today. So, Sarah, how how can people find your Instagram channel or wherever you got this stuff so they can take a look and be like, she's brilliant?
Yeah, absolutely. Please check out, I would say the best place to follow right now is our Instagram account. So it's just Scaped Outdoors on Instagram. Give us a follow. You'll see a big shift. There's a lot going to change in our social media in the coming year. Things are going to be
Mm,
fun this year. So I think that you'll enjoy following.
I love it. And I can sense that already from you. So,
Yeah.
Sarah, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your heart and sharing your creative ideas. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in the next 6 months to a year for you.
Perfect. If anyone needs help with Big Glue stuff, just ask. We'll tell you exactly how to do it.
Okay. And what's the best way to contact you?
DM would be best on Instagram. That's fine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Okay. Have
Sarah,
a great day, everyone. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Bye bye.
See you guys later.